What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Dan. I'm into hiking and backpacking and gear and all that stuff. So I just got back from a big hike and I came from Utah, hiked the Canyonlands, 20 some miles there. Awesome. But have you ever wondered what you should do with all your stuff if you're flying? Like, how do you get it there? I've only done it one time. This was the first time I did it, but it worked. So I can show you. You guys want to see? Okay, so I got everything, literally I haven't touched it at all, just kind of laying here on the floor. These are my wife's boots, so just, I don't know how those got there. I have not touched anything. I unpacked my stuff and threw the laundry in the laundry bin. Everything else is literally as I left it from when I got in the door from the airport. So essentially all I did was, as I took my backpacking backpack here and I shoved it inside of an old duffel bag. I don't want anybody thinking that I've got something really expensive inside of here, so I got the oldest, rattiest, nastiest, ripped up duffel bag I could find that would fit my backpacking gear and anything else I wanted to throw in there, and I threw that inside there, and I checked it, crossed my fingers, and it showed up on the other side. Everything was fine, and it worked really well. So that's how I did it, but that's not why you guys are here, are you? You guys are here because you want to hear about a sleeping bag. So, all right, I guess we could talk about that. Oh. Don't let me forget to tell you about these. Don't let me forget to tell you about these. These literally changed the weekend for me. Let's go outside. All right, see how easy it was to get outside. So we're gonna talk about a sleeping bag. How do you make a sleeping bag video not boring? I don't know, you just do. You have me in it, all right? It's never boring when I'm in it, okay? So we're gonna talk about the Zpacks Classic Sleeping Bag. Before we get into that though, I wanna tell you real quick about these socks that I got. I took a chance on these. These are by a company called Zero Pass on Amazon. And they are a merino wool sock. I wanted like a longer sock for hiking, and I've only got really short socks, like ankle style socks for hiking. And I came across these. Matter of fact, they were so comfortable after the first day of hiking. I hiked maybe just about 4 or 5 miles that I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna wear them this second day too. And I hiked another 10, 12 miles or so that Saturday, all through the Canyonlands. And these things were amazing. I'm gonna recommend that you guys check these out, as like if you're looking for a different pair of socks, or if the socks you guys aren't using aren't working for you. I'll throw a link in the description below. This is the Zero Pass sock, a merino wool sock. It's got the compression around the middle, compression around the ankle. This is definitely gonna be worn in the future on other hikes as well. Really comfortable bottom. It's got that like cushy bottom as well. So anyway, I thought I would just bring these out to show you guys Zero Pass. Make sure you guys check these out. All right, so let's talk about this sleeping bag that I got from Zpacks. First off, let me tell you some of the things I really like about it, and then I'm going to tell you the things that I don't like about it, and then I'm just going to kind of give you my recommendation of what you could potentially do if you're looking for a sleeping bag. This thing is extremely lightweight. This is probably the most lightweight sleeping bag that I've found on the market for the warmth. But there are reasons for that. Number one, it's filled with a 950 down tech down insulation. What that means is that it's treated feathers, so like if it gets wet, it kind of repels the water. And then also the 950 means that the feather is a puffy feather. It's a very puffy feather, so you need less feathers to create that much loft. So the higher the number of fill doesn't mean that it's going to be warmer, it just means that it's going to loft up more with less feathers. So it doesn't have like a hood on it. So this isn't like a mummy style bag. This is really more of like a glorified quilt. And this is for the guy, in my opinion, who can't choose whether they want a quilt or they want a bag. Or maybe you're a hammocker and a tenter like me, so this would work well for you. So like for instance, maybe you want to use this as a quilt in your hammock, you could totally do that. Or you could use this as a sleeping bag and you could zip it up, and it definitely works as a sleeping bag. But not having a hood, Zpacks recommends that you buy their hood on top of it. So, which is cool because the hood is probably really nice. I don't own it, I didn't use it. I have a hood like on this jacket here. I've also got a down beanie, so I didn't need it. But the hood is an additional $65. If you want to go ahead and spend that kind of money, that's totally up to you, but I don't think it's necessary. I think maybe your jacket hood or some other hat could do just as well for you. So the size that I got is the long and broad version. And the reason I did that is because I don't like to feel constricted inside of a sleeping bag. I like to have room. I like to have foot room and wiggle room and that kind of thing. The fabric on the outside and the fabric on the inside is made out of a 7 denier nylon. You know, it's good for one reason, and that's being lightweight, but that's honestly, in my opinion, about it. This is a very thin fabric, so this could easily get caught on something and torn much easier than, say, a heavier denier 10, 15, 20 denier nylon that maybe some other sleeping bag manufacturers are going to make. But obviously the reason they did that is because they're trying to make this as lightweight as they possibly can, and this is about as light as you can possibly get. So for that reason, it's great. So was it warm? Did it work well for me? Was I uncomfortable at any time at all? This was absolutely a very warm sleeping bag. I believe it's rated accurately. I had this down to almost 20 degrees Fahrenheit. It's a 10-degree bag, and I didn't feel any chill, because that's about where you would start to feel a chill if it was a poorly rated bag like some other manufacturers that I've dealt with. It was very, very comfortable. I was able to move around. It was long enough for me. I felt just nice and cozy in it. I really, really enjoyed the actual performance of the bag. The foot box has a baffle design that goes opposite the rest of the bag, and I think that's really just to hold the insulation down there. It's a treated fabric on the inside that's going to resist moisture, because in the wintertime you're going to get a lot of condensation, a lot of sweat, so that's good that it'll do that. Foot box is definitely roomy. It comes with a little tab here so you can hang this to store it, or I recommend you just stick it inside of like a pillowcase or something and hang it in your closet. That'll keep the down nice and lofted. You really don't want to keep down compacted more than 2 weeks at a time, because that down can start to lose its loft over time, and that means that the temperature rating is going to get worse and worse, and it's going to keep you colder instead of warmer. So in this particular bag, I got the one where the zipper goes down to about your calf. My biggest complaint with this zipper though, but I totally get why they're doing this, they're trying to make it like a quilt, is that it's underneath you. So you're actually laying on top of the zipper. I mean, you could, I suppose, sleep with it this way, but the lack of insulation in the middle here is just going to make it cold. And I definitely experienced some cold when this zipper kind of migrated to the side overnight, but I think you're going to get that with pretty much any bag. But having it underneath you wasn't uncomfortable. Like, I didn't feel the zipper. It wasn't like a lump or anything at all. They did a really good job of making sure it wasn't uncomfortable. The problem was unzipping it and zipping it back up. So getting inside of it is a little tricky because that's underneath you, but I understand why they did that, because it's also a quilt. It's, I mean, I don't know what you want to call this thing. Maybe you want to call it a sleeping bag or a sleeping quilt. It's kind of a hybrid in my opinion. It's not really the classic sleeping bag like what they're saying that is. And then one gripe I have with almost every manufacturer of sleeping bags and quilts is when they put that drawstring shock cord right here in the middle where your face is. This definitely hung on my face at night, so I kind of had to keep tucking it out of the way. But it works really well. You just cinch this thing up and it cinches right up around your neck, and it kept me nice and warm that way. One thing I found really interesting with their bags is that the stitching isn't green, it's black. On most manufacturers, I find that the stitching on the outside is actually going to be the same color as the outside. I think it would look a whole lot better if they did that. I would assume that the other colors that they've got also have a black stitching on it, and I've heard a lot of people gripe about this, and I hate to do this because this is a great sleeping bag. The outside stitching along this baffle is terrible. I pulled my sleeping bag out of my backpack that was resting on a juniper tree and just barely grazed the bark, and it caught the stitching right here and just ripped it and pulled it out. And I can't get the stitching to go back now. I do think this bag is reasonably priced. The quality on this bag is honestly, it's okay. It's not excellent, it's not terrible, it's just okay. My biggest gripe is that stitching. So this particular bag that's in front of you, this is the long, broad version, weighs 27 ounces, give or take. I think it's like more like 26.3 or something like that, but on my scale it weighed 27 ounces. But you can get this bag all the way down to 20.9 or around 21 ounces for the short and slim version. So if you're a shorter person, slim person, whatever, you don't really care about having that roomy inside, you can get this thing down really, 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 really low. And that's for the 10-degree bag. Am I glad I have this sleeping bag? Yeah, absolutely I am. I really enjoyed what it was meant to do, which was to keep me warm and keep me comfortable. I didn't feel really any drafts at all. It was nice to not have to worry about rolling over like with a quilt. And where that draft comes in. I guess my final recommendation for you guys would be, if you're looking for a hybrid bag, something that could be a quilt or a sleeping bag, I think this is probably a great option for you. If you guys can get past the stitching that is honestly not very good at all. And the thinness of the nylon here, which could easily rip if it's really thrown around or pulled very easily. And then also having to kind of get in and out with the zipper underneath you, which was really awkward. But other than that, I mean, it's a great bag. I recommend it for those reasons, and I guess that would be my review of the Zpacks 10-degree sleeping bag. If you guys like this video, make sure you hit that like button. Also subscribe for more. Hit the bell notification so I can send you a video every time it's released. And I will see you on the next one. Whoa. A little windy out here.